And we're singing. We're singing. Dun, 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 dun. Time to talk. Beauty and the bitch. Mick.
Morgan.
Okay, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do for the intro.
Yeah.
Go with me on a journey here.
Okay.
We're really excited about Jon and Daenerys, sort of. I mean, some people are not excited about incest, but those people need to think broader. But what
More
if...
narrow, perhaps, but okay.
What if we, do that thing where we, take Jon and Daenerys, and we smash it, and it's Jon and Daenerys.
Okay, that's an idea. And I went on a trip with you.
Thank you.
Right? You're welcome. Mm-hmm. It may have been a trip to hell or to heaven. I'm not sure.
Either way is fine.
I'm not sure. Okay. I have an idea, and I want you to go on a trip with me.
Okay.
So I thought maybe the intro could just be me insulting you, but like Game of Thrones style. So if I was like, you Walden ass Brianna fucking Tarth hunchbacked motherfucker, you Walder Frey face bitch.
First of all, that was a really sick burn.
Thank you.
I was very into that.
Were you hurt?
I was a little hurt,
yeah, okay.
but also mostly just because I don't really feel like Brienne should be an insult, and maybe we should rethink the way we look at Brienne after.
I knew you were gonna call me on this body shaming. You cannot tell me that bitch doesn't hunch all over Westeros. Now look, I'm not saying that a woman can't hunch. A woman can hunch like any man. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying she do be hunching.
She's gonna be hunching Jaime Lannister.
Do you think they're gonna? Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Beauty and the Bitch. I'm Mick.
I'm Morgan.
Okay, and right back to that question. Do you think that she's gonna get with Jaime?
Uh-huh.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I think, because he's, okay, we're covering... How do we even describe this episode, Morgie? It's pre-season 8, kind of.
The hype around the Game of Thrones series finale.
Did you say Game of Thrones?
I don't know. What did I say?
I hope you did.
I like that. It's been a really long day.
And you're drunk.
Yeah, well, Boda Bugs.
Yeah.
This episode brought to you by Boda Bugs.
I wish they would pay us to do it. I would do such an advertisement for them.
Some sort of wine should sponsor us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would drink a whole bottle before we did an episode. For them, not because I wanted to.
We usually do.
Yeah, but I'm saying I would do it for them.
So we're covering sort of the hype and the theories, and also just I think we're just covering from a really personal standpoint, what it's like to be a fan for a series finale of something as monumental as Game of Thrones.
This magnitude.
Everybody's sad when shows they love come to their series finales, but it's not the same. You know what I mean? It's not.
No, because Game of Thrones has been a worldwide phenomenon.
Yes.
In a very real way. Before we started the podcast, we were talking about compare it to Westworld, right?
Yes.
Which HBO wanted to be the new Game of Thrones.
They sure did.
Right? And Westworld is great. We did an episode on it. It's one of my favorite episodes we've ever done of all time.
It's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny, man.
Yeah.
But Westworld is not the kind of phenomenon that Game of Thrones is.
No.
Not even close. Nowhere near it.
No, and it's Game of Thrones has this fandom that has percolated over time and has just been amassing people that don't even like sci-fi or fantasy or magic or things like this, right? Maybe when it started, that was the audience. I think season 1 Game of Thrones definitely didn't have the budget. They didn't have the audience that season 8 Game of Thrones has, because people just have to be a part of the conversation, so that the fandom has just gone fucking bananas.
Yeah. Well, it's really smart because, as you say, George R. R. Martin started off with the book fandom, which was already a very passionate fandom.
Circa 1990s people hanging on.
Yes. It's the Wheel of Time people just moved right on over to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they were like,
and
okie dokies.
They kept waiting. Because that's what you do in those fandoms, is you wait, But no, it's a very strong fandom right off the bat. And then you got certainly the TV people, the HBO people, but it hit that next plateau. Kind of like Beyonce, right? Back in Destiny's Child and early Beyonce, she was a star. She's always been a star. But there was a moment, I don't know, was it when she married Jay-Z? Was it when she did Lemonade? It was before that. I don't know when. She became a superstar.
Yeah. Yes.
It's kind of hard to pinpoint when it happened, but Game of Thrones is like that. It's
yes.
beyond just like a popular TV show.
Mm-hmm. I hear often that people rank like maybe it's like season 4 as like a really highly ranked season. So I for something in me says that like around season 4 is when people were like, shit's really getting hyped in this universe. There's a lot of stuff going down. There's so many pop culture references by that point, right? Like there's so many things being referenced that like if you don't know anything about Game of Thrones, you know nothing, Jon Snow. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
you're missing out.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
You did it with a reference.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you deserve a cookie.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Don't mind
a
cookie. Mick bought these goddamn cookies
Girl.
that are like crack chocolate. Yeah. Thank you so much. I needed a new vice.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
my pleasure.
I needed one.
My new vice is Diet Coke, but that's neither here nor there. Those are Central Market cookies, and they should support us as well.
This episode brought to you by Central Market Cookies.
We're clean and healthy.
Yeah, zero fat, zero sugar.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yep. In the plastic box anyway. So back to Game of Thrones though. So I rewatched the last episode of season 7 to get ready for this.
Awesome.
And what you're saying about the budget, first of all, rings very true. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Huge difference. I mean, HBO is just throwing money at them. Fistfuls of money. But you mentioned that it got hot around season 4. Okay, now I know where I was going.
Okay.
That was me killing time. Could you tell?
Yes. I want to talk... You're such a bitch. But I want to talk about the budget more after you tell me where you're going with this.
Well, I have a little quizzy poo.
Oh,
it's a
great.
very short... It's only like 5 questions.
I love a quiz.
Okay. I lied to you 6 questions. You're never going to make it.
No, well, now it's dead to me.
So I'm going to read an event to you.
Okay.
Spoilers, y'all, but not really for season 7 or anything. And I want you to tell me which season of Game of Thrones it happened in.
Okay, this is going to be really hard for me because
me too.
As you and I discussed pre-podcast recording, I just restarted my Game of Thrones rewatch. 12 days out from the
Did you
season
almost
finale.
say MAGA just then? I caught you, Morgan.
Oh my God,
You're
I don't
a secret
know.
Trump supporter.
Well, I am, but I don't know what I keep almost saying.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is gonna be tough for me because I'm just on season 1 on my rewatch and like everything blends together. But let me give this a shot.
Okay. I believe in you for the record.
Oh my God, thank you.
You're welcome. It's a lie. Number 1, Jon's death.
Okay.
When he dies in that snow. What seasons does that happen in?
Man, it feels really late. Oh, we should have said spoiler alerts, but like obviously,
I
right?
said that.
Okay, great.
Wow, Morgan does not listen to me.
This cookie has changed my life.
I know. You're like orgasming.
It's hard to
right
focus.
Now.
Okay, so it feels like later. We're going into season 8.
Are we sure?
Okay, definitely wasn't season 7. Because that's when time and space was a construct.
Yeah.
Okay,
Remember how he comes...
maybe it was the end of season 5. Season 5 finale.
Morgan, you got it right.
Oh, dang,
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't remember if it was the finale, but it was definitely in season 5. It probably was the finale. Yeah, it was.
Oh, wait, didn't
we
he
talked
wake
about
back up? Wasn't the last thing you saw at a season finale that he woke back up?
Oh, yes.
Or maybe it was a season premiere end of the episode? Shit, I don't remember.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Season 5.
The red bitch brings him back to life.
Melisandre?
She brings him back to life?
But she does her magic, and then nothing happens, and then she goes away, and then he comes back to life.
Oh.
But yeah.
So does she is it because of her that he comes back to life or not?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just like somehow a delayed effect.
Okay, forgive me for being lame. I just couldn't remember. Okay. Egret's death. Is that how you say her name?
Egret.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
So she died before he died.
Yeah.
Season 4.
Yes!
Dang, girl!
Damn! I made these two easy. Okay. Bronn fights Lisa Aaron's knight in the Eyrie.
Season 1.
Yes, I was shocked about that, though.
I just saw that.
I thought that happened so much later in the series.
That shit escalates quick in season 1. Season 1 is, like, very rewatchable and a very standalone, like, you understand where the series is going. Like, yep, I need to be a part of that. Season 2, I haven't got back to there yet, but is notably a season people don't care for very much, though. But go on. What else can I answer for you?
Okay. In what season does Theon lose his dick? And balls, I think. I think he's completely frustrated.
So that's the Boltons.
Mm-hmm. I misremembered this though.
God. I mean, he goes on for a while with the Reek stuff. In the book, It feels like a goddamn eternity.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes me want to pick season 2, but I'm going to go with season 3.
You fucking bitch. Can you see the answers?
No, dude.
You're getting them all right. I'm so proud of
with,
you.
Like, timeline reasoning. When I have a marker, right? If I know John dies in season 5, I can think about go back from there.
I'm so impressed.
Thank you.
I didn't think you were going to I couldn't have got any of these. Is a nicer way to put it.
You didn't believe in me.
Well, fuck you. Mm-hmm. Okay, I get it. Okay, the Red Wedding.
Okay. So we've got the young wolf coming into his own at the end of season 1.
Good old Robb Stark.
Yeah, R.I.P. Ned. So season 2, he's really gonna ramp up. He's got the Renly stuff going on. He's got the Stannis stuff moving in. I'm gonna go season 3.
You fucking bitch. You got it right.
Dang.
I hate you.
You're mad at my success
There's
right
such
now.
a thing as winning too much. And everyone who's ever played drunken darts knows that. Right? You either want to be mediocre or so bad people laugh at you. That's how you make friends. Winning is not the
I didn't come here to make friends.
This is not RuPaul's best friend race. Okay. Last one. In what season does Melisandre give birth to the shadow monster that kills Renly?
Season 2.
Yeah. I knew you were going to get that because you already said that. Yeah. I thought that was one of the most horrifying moments of the show.
I felt like Game of Thrones is one of those shows where, like, it feels like it could just be a sort of period piece, and then there's intermittent magic things that happen, and you're like, oh, yeah, Red Priestess Witch Lady just, like, birthed a demon baby, and, like, Daenerys just walked out of fire with dragons. Like, shit like that is like, okay, we in a different place. This ain't the same. They got zombies out there. Like, moments like that, like, really bring it back. Yeah.
You're right. And I think, I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. But that sticks out in my mind in season 2 as one of the first moments where I saw magic that was obviously magic. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, Dany coming out of the fire, that was the finale of season 1, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And that was magic, but that was, like, kind of like earth blood magic.
Yes.
Like, passive magic.
And she had, like, just gone through the Mirri Maz Dur stuff with, like, Khal Drogo. So, like, there was, like, some weird magic tied up in that. And it's... And also, like, there was some bit of reasoning that was like, okay, well, maybe they weren't petrified dragon eggs, and, like, and maybe that's just how dragons are born, and, like...
It makes sense.
Maybe she has flame-retardant hair. Like, I don't know. There was, like... You reasoned with yourself on that, but you're right. When you birth a fucking black shadow demon that goes and kills King Renly...
Yes.
R.I.P.
Especially when you haven't been out the night before drinking vodka tonics, because sometimes you'd be birthing crazy shit.
Oh my god, all the time. But the best thing that we got out of this demon baby murdering a King Renly is a Marjorie Tyrell coming into her own. She is a queen. She knew how to handle Joffrey, but her grandma was like, I said no. I'm gonna kill that
queen
kid.
Of Thorns. Oh, I'm such an idiot.
We're drunk.
No, you're drunk.
I'm drunk on these cookies, yeah.
Okay, I will say though, that was also when Brienne of Tarth kind of came into her own, right?
Yes.
Because she was just going to be a Kingsguard, essentially.
Yeah.
More or less.
And she was in love with Renly.
Which was sad. Yeah.
And confusing, because, like, what on the spectrum of queerness is Brienne of Tarth? It's very confusing for me.
I think it's really... Oh, okay, well, I'm going to make you feel like an ass thing, because I think it's really obvious. She's a gender rebel, so, like, a tomboy, or maybe even, like,
and she's a large woman.
Man.
She's so tall.
She's also just huge. Yeah. But she's attracted to men. We've never seen her be attracted to a woman.
No.
So I think she's definitely, like, heterosexual as far as she was born a woman attracted to.
I think it's confusing. The Jaime stuff, Jaime's a very masculine person. Renly was the, like, littlest tart you ever did see. Like, that's just an interesting choice. But he was kind
to her, though.
Yes.
I think that's why it was. I think it's that gender or, like, sexuality rebels finding one another. I think that Jaime's a much better match for her. I mean, it's, obviously.
I ship Jaime and Brienne so hard. Like, when we get into talking about, like, what sort of outcomes do we hope for? Because I'll say, I don't deign to predict like every detail of what happens in the final season, but I do have some like hopes and dreams of like nice tidy things that could happen that could fill my heart with joy. Totally. And I would love to see a Brienne and a Jaime come together, though I don't presume that they will both make it to the end of the series, but if we could just have a moment, a day, a week, you know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like she really deserves it.
Yeah. Well, do you think that they're both going to survive? Shit. No. He's redeemed, kind of, but he's done so many bad things.
The redemption arc on this motherfucker, going back to season 1 this week and watching it. Yes. Literally, the first thing that happens when we meet Jaime is he eats his sister out and he pushes a cute child out of a window, crippling him for life. And he went
while saying something pithy and witty, right? He's not even
the things
afraid.
I do for love.
Exactly. Yeah.
We go from that Jaime Lannister to like, oh no, I'm so sad he got his hand cut off. I hope he comes back. I hope he kills Cersei. We really need Jaime. I really want to see him like win a little bit. Like, talk about a fucking story arc. That's a comeback.
It was, and you know, that time when he was traveling with Brienne, that was really when he changed. Like, she changed him.
Yeah, he couldn't have done it without her.
No.
Absolutely.
No, he wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have done it. He would have been a shitty-ass Lannister till the day he died. But Brienne... And so, that's why I actually... for once, I agree with you, Morgan. I hope that they at least get a just a kiss. Moment. At least, they might both die, frankly. I think they're both kind of on the chopping block as, like, warriors, but...
That's an interesting thing to say. When you say they're both on a chopping block, do you feel like eternally there are any 100% safe characters that will make it through?
No.
I think there's one.
Who?
I think there's one safe character.
Jon Snow?
No. Samwell Tarly.
Really? I can see Sam dying.
Because I am of the mind, and there's like a theory out there about it. It's like a widely accepted theory that like Sam becomes a person who writes the Song of Ice and Fire, the history of Westeros. You know, because he like went to his maester training and he's like all up in that life.
That makes sense.
So to me, it's impossible that he could die if he fulfills this possible destiny of being the writer of the Game of Thrones. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that makes him safe.
He could write it while he's dying. Or, like, what if he, like, gets trapped in a cavern below Winterfell, and he's got pens and paper, and he writes the whole history of the life that he's lived and all the people he's known and Jon Snow's story.
Okay.
While he's starving to death.
Okay, that could be.
I'm just saying
it's possible. And we know, as per season 7, that time is a construct. So, like, we don't even know, or maybe they said and I just didn't read, like, what is the time span from, like, episode 1 to, like, how many episodes are there? 6? I think there's 6 episodes. What is the time frame, right? Is it we start on, like, whatever day and then, like, 100 years go by? 3 days? Like what is that?
Do you mean
time
from
span?
The very beginning of the series to the very end of the series? Yeah, I have no idea, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that changes, like, a lot of outcomes.
Oh, sure.
And they're being, like, pretty hush-hush about a lot of things. And, like, even the trailer stuff, like, they really don't show you too much. But, like, what I read on the internet is that, like, a lot of the trailer footage, except for anything that has Cersei in it, is pretty much at Winterfell. And so the general consensus is that the Battle of Winterfell is, like, probably one of the biggest events of the season. And people, just, like, looking at who the directors are that are lined up for each episode, people are predicting that episode 3 is when the Battle of Winterfell happens, because the guy that's directing it has directed every major battle episode. The Bastards.
Oh, that's
whatever.
My favorite episode.
That's
my favorite episode of the whole series.
The Red Wedding, like a couple of the other battle ones. So, like, that guy is directing episode 3. So it's kind of safe to say that, like, episode 3 is going to be a big battle episode.
Well, and you know what? That makes a lot of sense as a theory, too, because pretty much they have to fight the Night King first and be weakened by him for Cersei to be, like, a threat. Because right now she doesn't have... I mean, she's always a threat because she's a venomous snake, but she doesn't have quite enough power. If Daenerys was to bring her 2 remaining dragons against her, like...
You're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
So I read a theory that in the battle, she's going to lose both of those dragons. Or maybe another one will die and then one will be grievously injured or something.
So I think if any dragon lives, that it has to be Drogon because he is Dany's dragon. I can foresee a world where... So the dragon that died last season was Viserys.
I have it. Yeah.
Viserion?
Yes, Viserion.
And then it's Drogon
and Rhaegal?
Yeah.
Whatever.
So that one...
That's like the least popular one.
He could die. That one could die.
Yeah.
That
I
could
think
be
it
a
would be more
possibility.
shocking if Dany died on Drogon's back, or like they died more or less together.
It's an interesting thought.
Because Drogon's a boy, right?
So I was just doing some quick research on the gender of dragons, and in the world of Ice and Fire, it's theorized by like fake scholars that live in that world that the sex of dragons can be changed like almost on command.
They're like hermaphroditic?
Yeah, to be what they can become what is necessary. Because there had been
lucky.
They were like talking about like the decline of the dragon population, like whether or not it had to do with like the imbalance of like gender. And they, through their findings, felt like it had nothing really to do with that and only to do with like the avid like destruction. Like people avidly like went out and destroyed the dragons because they were like fucking Targaryens are like roaming the world and like being good and shit, and like without dragons they're not that good. I mean, they're just like, it's on par, right? Anybody could be on par without a dragon, but if you throw a dragon in the mix, like forget about it. Like
so
of
people
course
wanted to get
everyone's
rid of that
scared.
Variable. Yeah.
So anyways, but that was what they said. So I don't know about this Drogon business, but he seems like a very masculine dragon.
He does seem quite butch. Yes, but I mean, yeah, maybe he's like a mama bear type. I don't know.
So let's talk about like if there is this battle at Winterfell, and of course it makes the most sense if the Night King wants to move south, he has to go through Winterfell.
Sure.
He has to get to Winterfell first.
And we saw him break down the wall. The wall's done. Don't forget that. That was in the season finale last season.
They've got a dragon now.
Girl.
He's out there blowing like blue fire eyes.
Which how? I don't get it.
Which
like
how?
whatever.
Okay.
but
Great
that's
question.
Fine,
we may never know.
Fine.
So there's a lot tied up in Winterfell. Like Winterfell has always been this like really important pivotal part of Game of Thrones. George R. R. Martin spent a lot of time giving you vague but important details about Winterfell. So Winterfell was built 8,000 years before the start of our story. Before the start of Game of Thrones, the first book. Winterfell was built 8,000 years ago by Bran the Builder, who also erected the wall, right? So Bran the Builder's a badass, I think it's safe to say. But there's also a lot of magic tied up in the wall. So it's like natural to think that if this person accomplished the wall, that like there is also magic tied up in Winterfell. And there's a lot of mystery tied up in Winterfell. And Winterfell is like a huge establishment. Like I feel like they don't really do it justice in the show. Like it is a fortress of like literal fucking solitude in the middle of the Great White North. Like the Starks are like the kings of the North because they live in this immense compound that's like virtually impenetrable.
It does look quite small in the TV
It
show.
does. It just looks like a old rock mansion.
Well, exactly. It really is, and you're like, oh, this is a nice
little place to
dirt
live.
floor courtyard here. Yeah.
Underneath Winterfell, the crypts, right? We've gone to the crypts. We've gone to visit Lyanna with Robert. We've gone down to visit the ancestors. There is like 6 stories of crypts underneath. Basically, what you would just assume is like you just walk down a staircase and there's the dead family members. No, there are floors and stories of basements of crypts, and we have no idea what's in there. And in the books, in the first book, Game of Thrones, they like talked about it, and there was a quote I read online. I haven't read the books in forever, but it was like they said they hadn't been below like the 3rd story of the crypt or something in like generations because it had been caved in. So like I don't even think the Starks know what is below in the crypts, because why would they? But they have like folklore that's been passed down, and they have these really powerful, important sayings that we just accept at face value. When they say things like winter is coming, we just assume that means, right, we go through spring, we have the spring thaw, and then winter comes back. But like winter could have
did you just skip summer and fall altogether?
Well, they don't really
they
get
work.
this.
Morgan,
That's right. You're right. I'm skipping over that.
lived through, what,
And summer.
62 seasons now.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, so winter, like, what is that saying rooted in? Like, is winter, like, perhaps the name of some, like, malevolent evil and not actually, like, winter as just, like, a snow that is coming? Because winter is, like, a very nefarious thing in general. So that could have a deeper meaning. They have this saying where it's, like, there must always be a Stark in Winterfell. Okay, so, like, is that because, like, you just want to make sure they hold down the fort? Or is there some deep-seated magic that is tied to the bloodline of the Starks, and a Stark must remain there to keep some sort of malevolent evil at bay at all times? And then they have like a couple other ones that they talk about. The North Remembers. That got popularized after the Red Wedding. They started saying that a lot more, but it's in like book 1. Like, they say the North remembers. So it's like, what are they remembering? What is the deal with Winterfell? And like, there's a theory out there called the Great Other. And the Great Other is possibly this malevolent evil. And the theory is that like winter or the Great Other, like they're like sort of a one and the same sort of thing. There was like a battle like back in the day, and like perhaps winter literally fell at that location, like at Winterfell, and so they built this like magical compound on top of it to like house and like keep down this like malevolent evil forever. And like, what if the Night King is just trying to get to that? Like, maybe he doesn't even need to get past Winterfell. Maybe his only objective is to get to Winterfell and either reunite with the Great Other, or maybe he is a good person and he is trying so hard and will do whatever it takes to get to the Great Other where Winterfell, to like make sure that it never comes back, you know, because there's a lot tied up in the Night King. There's like a Bran is the Night King theory. There's all these Night King things, and we don't know his motivations.
Okay.
We don't know.
I read online, and it was almost an aside. It made me think I just missed something obvious, but maybe this person was just wrong. They said that the Night King was created by the children of the forest to repel the first generation of like men. Is that true? So
we know that the Night King was created by the children of the forest, but I don't think we don't have a grasp on why he was created, what his purpose was. And so that's why the Bran is the Night King theory is interesting, because Bran knows the children of the forest. He has this vision and like he can change time. So like, what if he knows about the Great Other and he foresees something bad happening with that, so he has to go back in time, have the children of the forest create him into the Night King so that he can like either stop the evil or like do something. But like, I think for certain we don't know what his motivations are. And like, yeah, he's killed people, he's killed wildlings, he's building his army, he's killed the Night's Watch, he's killed like the good guys. But you know who he hasn't killed? Jon Snow. And he's had multiple opportunities to do that if he would so choose. So, like, why would he just avidly not kill a Jon Snow if he's just, like, a bad guy? You know what I mean?
If all he is like zombie hunter or whatever.
Yeah, if that's all he is. But, like, there's some deeper-seated motivation that, like, will become known in Season 8.
That would be so insane if there was a secret antagonist we didn't know about hidden under Winterfell. If there were dragons in the depths of the crypt. It's the clown from It, which also fell to Earth, or you know, to the land, and is a malevolent fucking deity.
I love a good crossover. I'm not mad about this at all.
Oh my god!
You know, it'd be really confused every person in that show.
But we wouldn't.
Sansa would be like, "What?"
Yeah. I fear nothing.
Nothing.
What? I don't know if Sansa may have crossed the line into not fearing anything, because she's essentially lost everything. She's another really dynamic character that's changed a lot since the beginning.
So much. She's grown so much. And I think part of the reunions, there's a lot of reunions happening, right? I think people coming back and seeing the new version of Sansa will be really, it's an interesting thing for them, because when when Tyrion last saw Sansa, he had married her to protect her because she was just like a stupid girl being abused, you know?
Just a young abused girl.
And now she's one of the most powerful people in the Seven Kingdoms. Like, she rules the North when Jon's not there. And I think when Jon is there, she still rules the North.
Yeah. Completely.
Yeah.
There was, There was some moment that she had where they were talking about something. It was in the last episode of season 7. And she was talking to someone, forgive me, I can't remember who. And they asked about something that John did that seemed kind of crazy. And the way she answered was so... It's not just that she has this power, it's that she makes it seem effortless. She's been through such horrible stuff that she's a ruler now. Mm-hmm. She has become truly a ruler. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be upset if she was the only Stark left over to rule Winterfell at the end. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I think she's, right now, the best choice.
Let's talk about who's going to be left at the end to maybe rule. Or, like, what's a possible outcome of, like, right, this is, like, the Game of Thrones. Like, what, if any, thrones will there be? And, like, who might sit upon them?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, first of all, in Winterfell right now, we have Sansa, Arya, Bran... Sam and Gilly are there. They just got there, I think. And then...
and Sam's got some info. He's got that intel.
Well, I know this is not what we were traveling towards, but you know what I think? I think he and Gendry together, Blast from the Past Gendry, are going to reforge Valyrian steel.
I think yes, you're right. And I think also, I read the spoiler about a thing you can see in the trailer. So I'm going to just go ahead and say it because it's on the internet. And it's in the trailer.
It's in the trailer.
You see a Jorah Mormont holding a Valyrian steel sword, which is a really powerful thing for him because he had to give up Longclaw when he was, like, banished from his family. And the sword that he has it's Sam's sword.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay. So there's, like, a lot of theories about, like, does Sam fall in battle and, like, Jorah takes up his sword, or does Sam, like, give the sword to Jorah in, like, a ceremonial type, like, welcome back to Westeros, because Jorah hasn't been to Westeros.
I was going to say, we haven't seen him in ages and ages and ages.
Yeah, and he hasn't been on Westerosi soil because he's been, like, out in, like, the islands because he was banished, you know, across the Narrow Sea.
But he still works for Dany, right? Didn't she get him?
He's back. Yeah.
He made her, like, or she made him, like, a lieutenant or, like, a governor.
He betrayed her.
I remember that.
And she sent him away, and then he came back.
He got grayscale
with
and
grayscale.
Came back. Oh, yeah.
And then he'd saved her. And then she was like, bitch, you need help. And so he went to go get help with the grayscale. But now he's back again.
Okay, so he's back with Dany.
He's with her, I believe. Okay. Yeah, I believe
I'm very confused.
I believe he is.
Okay, so you know who else we have up in Winterfell?
Tell me.
Is Beric. That guy, the Brothers Without Banners, who can come back to life over and over.
I was just going to say, didn't he die?
Well, his other half died. So he's no longer immortal. Remember that guy? I forget his name. Is like Shannon or some shit. That guy would do that thing and he would come back to life. That guy froze to death when they were going up north to try to...
was that guy a red priest? Or he was
I think he was like a shitty red priest or something. I don't remember. I was never... You know, in both the books and the TV show, the Brothers Without Banners never did it for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I was just never into them. But he's in Winterfell right now.
Okay.
And he's no longer immortal, but he has that flaming sword.
Yes.
So...
Wait, the sword of...
Whatever. That sword that bursts into flame. Doesn't he still have that?
Yes, and it's called like Heartsbane maybe or something.
Yeah.
That sword is somebody else is supposed to get that sword.
Oh.
Like he's gonna die for sure.
He's definitely gonna die. Was my point.
I think Jon is supposed to have that sword.
Oh.
Well, I think the prince that was promised is supposed to have that sword, and I think Jon is the prince that was promised.
Some people think that what's his face?
Jamie?
Jamie is the prince that was promised.
Great alternate option. Wouldn't be mad at all about that.
Yeah.
Some people also think that...
Hot Pie?
Hot
Pie
Hot Pie's making a comeback. Gendry can't make it without him. He needs his Hot Pie. No, what's that guy? Davos. Some people think that Davos might be the prince that was promised. Because he was technically reborn or reforged in salt and fire in the battle on the water where he got burnt and was in the water.
Look, if that prophecy has prophesied that the Onion Knight is my prince who was promised, I'm gonna be pissed.
We also don't quite know what the prince who was promised means, but let me tell you, Jon, I think, is the strongest, he has the strongest, claim to that prophecy by literally dying and being, reborn in the, manner of the prophecy. But the fucking like the old guy, the Azor Ahai or whatever, for him to like fulfill the prophecy, he had to kill the love of his life with like a sword, and then like was empowered by like her blood. So like theoretically, like if the prophecy was to repeat, he'd have to kill Dany to like fulfill this duty. And I love Jon, and I think he would be a good ruler in that way that Ned would be a good ruler, but he is the world's most begrudging. Like, he does not want that power. He does not want to be a king.
Which is what they say makes a good king.
They do.
Or a good
they do
ruler,
say that.
You know.
But I also think Dany wants it so hard in like some good ways.
Dany in some ways is kind of like the Hillary Clinton of Westeros.
Oh,
because
no!
I'm just saying, she has experience. And yes, she plays a little dirty, but that's kind of the way you have to play, honey, to get stuff done.
She's learned a lot.
And look at all the things she's accomplished for women and children. She really is. She's the Hillary Clinton, which makes me think she's not going to win.
That is hilarious.
And true.
So I think, to me, the only possible outcome from this end of this series is like the Iron Throne does not exist anymore. There is not like one throne to rule them all. And I think Dany has laid the foundation for that, whether or not she comes into any sort of power, because she did things like she left Dario behind to govern, the islands that I can't think of their names. Like she left him to do that, right? So essentially he's ruling those islands and keeping the peace and like keeping slavery at bay and whatever. She promised Yara or whatever.
Who's still in jail in King's Landing, BT Dub.
Oh, dang. I hope that bitch gets out.
Me too.
She promised her ownership of the Iron Islands, right? Like, you will be the queen. We will be queens alongside each other. So I feel like she's laying the foundation to, like, divvy up the world to have, like, kind of like, it's United Kingdoms, right? Like, they could all be like a part of the European Union, but they have their individual rule and like they can live their own life. And I think the North has to have its own person, and I think it's going to be Sansa. I think Sansa will be queen in the North.
It'll be all queens. All queens.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
And I think, hear me out on this, Gendry.
Uh-huh.
There's a theory out there that I'm very intrigued about. Do you remember that Cersei said she only ever had one child with Robert Baratheon and it died? Her firstborn child? It was a little baby boy with black hair.
I think it's Gendry.
And I think it's Gendry. I think Gendry and Arya are going to get their moment, and they're going to go down to King's Landing and rule that part of the world.
Oh, do you?
Yup.
Wait, so is Dany dead then?
I think Dany might be donezo. Yeah.
But
I think I don't think both Dany and Jon can live. I think the best we could hope is one of them out of it, and if there's one of them, I think it's her. You know what I mean?
To die, you mean?
Yeah. No.
To live.
Oh. I feel like Jon's gonna die either way somehow. Unless they fulfill this Azor Ahai prophecy and he kills her. But then maybe he either kills himself or like sacrifice. I think it's more likely he sacrifices himself for Dany because he believes in her.
But I will say, he does believe in her and she's worth being believed in. I think because you stand their relationship, you're putting too much emphasis on his feelings for her. He's known this bitch for 2 hot minutes. Yes, he did, one fucker multiple times, and she is gorgeous. And 2, he bent his knee to her, which he wouldn't do to anyone else.
No one else.
But I don't think if he has to kill her... What if she gets
pregnant with his baby?
Well, we know that she's pregnant. We know that she's pregnant because they keep misdirecting that she can't get pregnant. We talked about that last episode. So
if she's pregnant with Jon Snow's fucking baby, he will do anything to keep her alive.
Protect that baby.
He is a Ned Stark through and through.
Yeah.
Like, Lyanna might be his mama, but Ned was his father. You know what I mean?
Who raised him. Yeah. Well, but who else? It's got to be his baby, right? Who else
there's no one else. Oh, it's been so long since she fucked Dario. She ain't had nobody.
And she may have fucked Yara. She may have fucked Yara.
But no babies.
Yara can't be getting her pregnant unless Yara has something I don't know about.
She probably did fuck Yara.
I hope she did. A vibe. That lesbianic moment, I was like, let's get it.
Into it.
It's like leather and lace, girl.
Let's
Bring it
get
together.
our Kingdom of Queens. I want a queendom.
Kingdom of Queens, Game of Queens. Okay, so now I told you that Yara is in King's Landing. Can you name anyone else who's in King's Landing?
Good God.
You know one.
Important people?
Yeah, not like random Joe Blows.
Is Varys there? Varys?
No, I think Varys is traveling. He was, but he's traveling north. All those kids are traveling north together. So, like, I'll tell you who's traveling. That'll make it easier.
Okay.
John and Danny, Davos and Jaime. Jaime separate from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Theon, Tyrion, and Varys are all traveling north.
I wish Theon would die. I'm done with it.
I fucking love Theon.
I know, but I'm over it.
I still think he's so sexy.
I know you do.
He's so fine.
And I still think Littlefinger's fine.
You know what? So neither of us can judge the other.
We're just living our
everyone
lives.
else disagrees with both of us.
Everyone thinks we're trash.
Yeah, well, they're not far wrong. Okay, so I think, you know what, though? I do think Theon's not going to redeem himself eventually. He's had some redemption, some small redemption. But I think he's going to die pathetically just as he's lived, and it's going to be very sad and whatever.
It's very sad, yeah.
I do think that Yara is going to live. I hope she does.
I think so, too.
So, you know, who else do you think might be in King's Landing? It's really just people you know. This is not really a very good quiz. So, like...
It's hard. I'm trying to think because, like, I'm trying to remember who's not fucking dead. Like, we lost so many people,
That's so true.
I feel like.
Yeah. Especially around King's Landing. Truth.
And then a bunch of people are in, like, fucking Winterfell now.
Uh-huh.
Give me a hint. What kinds of people?
Well, you're thinking about the entourage around the Mad Queen, essentially.
Oh, dang. I forgot about Cersei. She's in King's Landing.
She's in King's Landing.
Man, that's a bitch that has to die. Oh my god, can you imagine if the end of the series is Cersei lives, she's the Mad Queen, everyone else dies? We would be shook. I would be so shook.
You know what? Sometimes things just be like that, man. That's all you can say. If she wins the Game of Thrones...
I don't even know if I would be mad. I think I would just be... Like, because it'd be so memorable if that was the outcome. Like, I don't know if I'd be mad.
I would actually probably cry.
It's just that's
such a, like, bitter, sad ending. Because she's, like, she's the worst possible ruler, actually. Dang. Maybe. Well, her little boy toy Euron is there with her. He'd be a horrible ruler as well.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, he's the worst.
The Mountain is still hanging around, half zombed. And remember, at the end of season 7, the Hound tells him, like, you know what's coming for you. He, like, taunts him a little bit. Mm-hmm. But old zombie brother don't do a damn thing.
He was like,
yeah, he was like, I don't know you, sir. And then I'm not certain where Brienne is. Is she traveling north? I'm confused because the last time we saw her was in King's Landing, but I assume she's traveling north with the rest of them. I have her down in King's Landing, but
one would think.
I don't know why she would hang out there. No one wants to hang out with that ugly ass wig.
I remember. I haven't rewatched season 7 or whatever, but Jaime and Cersei had their falling out, and she's like pregnant with this fucking baby.
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah, but. She probably is.
Well, but there's that theory that she's only going to have 3 kids.
So
or not theory. There's that prophecy.
Yes.
Someone made a prophecy.
And and also in that prophecy is that her little brother kills her, the Valancourt or whatever.
Yep.
And that's for sure going to be Jaime, and definitely not Tyrion.
Has to be.
I feel like 10 out of 10, everybody agrees, like, that's how that prophecy is being fulfilled.
Because there's essentially no emotional resonance if Tyrion kills her.
At
and
this
there's,
point,
like,
no.
max emotional resonance if Jaime does it.
Plus, she's lived her whole life putting
being
Tyrion at bay.
Tyrion.
Yeah, because she was like, it's going to be him, it's going to be him. But yeah, I think Jaime's going to kill her. Maybe she's pregnant when he does it, so she never has that last child. And maybe that emotionally wrecks him, and maybe... he kills himself or sacrifices himself.
Well, you know, last episode we theorized that maybe Meister Peer or whatever, the zombie Meister. Maybe he puts I don't like him either. He's creepy as fuck. But maybe we said last episode he puts a zombie baby inside of her somehow.
He would.
I could see it.
Fucker.
I could see it.
They're so messed up, and like. It's so obvious that Cersei's gone off the deep end without her children. Like, they were the only, like, link to humanity that existed for her. Like, it's just bad news there. It's bad news.
I mean, we said it once again last episode, but damn, just the fact that she keeps wearing her hair like that tells you something ain't right.
Right?
Even, she should just shave it again. That'd be cuter.
Girl,
anything.
She was definitely wearing wigs before. Just throw a wig on it.
Yeah, Queen. Girl. She looks like a scullery maid.
Yeah.
Who, like, scrubs dirty dishes.
It's not cute.
It's not cute.
Oof.
Speaking of things that aren't cute, let's talk about Arya's list, her murder list. Because I think that's a good place to theorize and think and predict for the next season.
Yeah, because I think she has quite a few people left on her list.
Oh, fuck yes. Well, okay. Can you name any of the people? Because I think this is an exhaustive list, but forgive me if it's not. Because I had to use the internet. I cannot pretend to have known this. Okay. Can you name any of the people that Arya has crossed off her list?
I think she thought she crossed off the Hound.
Yeah, but lies.
But lies.
She may not have crossed them off, but
Walder
they are
Frey.
crossed off. Yes, she crossed him off.
Walder Frey.
That was so good.
You burnt your dead. Eat your children. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, not to get off topic because I do want to talk about this, but the episode I just watched of season 1 is when Rob made the deal with Walder Frey that he would marry any daughter of his choosing. And I was like, oh no, this moment has set in stone his entire path.
Yep.
His entire
That's so sad.
Limited future. Dang, it was brutal. But Arya got his back. I remember Walder Frey.
Yep.
To be honest, it's like really hard for me to remember those early murderings. Joffrey. The Purple Wedding.
Again, she didn't cross him off, but he was crossed off. Yeah.
Yeah, thank God for the Queen of Thorns.
Yes. Do you remember the Tickler?
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yep. Do you remember Lorch?
No.
Me neither.
Well,
I read about him. I think he held her captive for a short while.
I don't think he's in the show on her list, maybe.
Is he not? Oh.
Because I remember in the show she would like say their names.
You remember Lorch?
And I don't remember that. But I'll let you know when I get to that episode.
It's probably pronounced Lorchy or something. I don't know.
Lorcha.
Do you remember Polliver?
That sounds familiar. He's like a Lannister person or something.
I don't fucking know, Queen. I did know at one point last night when I was doing research. I remember no goddamn Polliver now. What about Meryn Trant?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he's one. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good one. And then she didn't cross him off, but Tywin was crossed off the list by his own son.
Mm-hmm. Actually, he said, "You're no son of mine." Targaryen prophecy theory.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, good point there, actually. And then some guy named Rorge.
Okay, cool. That's a name. Okay.
So those are people who have been crossed off.
Dang.
Let's talk about people left on. You said the Hound already.
I think she's going to have a change of heart on that one.
I think so, too.
I think he might die, but, like, she'll be okay either way.
And she essentially did. I mean, she took 2 steps for him to be dead, and he didn't die. So it's almost like she did cross him off, and he just, by a superhuman amount of luck and health, I guess.
He went to that village spa.
Yeah, exactly.
Hung out with those village people.
Got those hot stone massages, yeah. Okay, so the Hound is still on her list, but maybe shouldn't be.
Still in play.
There are 2 women, both of them quite evil, both of them quite fabulous.
Cersei.
Still on the list. And
another powerful, fabulous woman.
She's pretty witchy.
Melisandre? Wait, when did Melisandre make it to the list?
Don't know. Don't remember.
But Melisandre gave her own prophecy about her death, like to Varys. She was like, I'm going to come back one more time to die here.
We know that.
So she's going to be dead for sure.
She's going to bring back, we know she's going to die for sure. I think she's going to bring back an army of flame-sworded.
Same.
Fanatics or whatever.
Yep.
So she's coming back with an army as well.
For Jon?
I think so.
I think for Jon.
She currently believes that he's the prince, right? So
yes. And I think rightfully so.
Speaking of people who are going to join the battle, I think Nymeria and the Wolf Army are going to join the battle.
I think so too.
Because that's the only dire wolf we have left.
We got Ghost.
Ghost. Oh, I forgot about Ghost. Yeah. They played less and less a role as you forget about them.
It's expensive CGI, I imagine.
I guess so. Well, I will say, though, speaking of, I know I'm off topic, but Nymeria joining the battle, do you remember when Summer tried to fight the fucking zombie whites?
Okay, but Summer's a little bitch.
Well, that's true.
Nymeria is like a wild woman.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think there's like a really great moment when Arya finds Nymeria again, and she like calls back to a line that she said to Ned, like when like Ned was like, you have to wear like dresses and be a princess or whatever, and Arya was like, that's not me. And then when Arya was like, Nymeria, come back, come here, I love you, let's be together, and Nymeria was like, nah, I'm good. And Arya was like, that's just not you. Like, you're living your life on your terms, and like that's exactly what Arya's doing. But I think they're so connected that there's no way she's not bringing her fucking pack to the battle. 100%. And you know who was a fierce-ass warrior, never defeated? Fucking Grey Wind. Grey Wind with Rob was like they never would have won the battles they won without Grey Wind.
You're so right.
Never.
Yeah, totally
and I bet Nymeria is like on par with a Grey Wind.
Yeah, Summer was just pretty fucking weak.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what can you do?
And the pup that little baby Stark had.
Rickon.
Yeah. Did he have one?
Yeah, Shaggy Dog.
Shaggy Shaggy Dog. What was I thinking? Shaggy Dog ain't made it too far. Oh my god, I drooled. That got me. Okay. Shaggy Dog is dead.
Also, there's a theory. I'm sorry. I love a good theory.
No, you're all about the fan theory.
Bran, you know, like, do you remember when they found the direwolves? And they were like, direwolves don't live south of the wall. Like, they don't live south of the wall. So there's a theory that Bran also put in motion the outcomes by going back in time and sending the mother direwolf to that location so that the puppies could like belong to the Stark children so that they could like have these experiences and outcomes.
That makes sense because I was about to be like, but those dogs didn't do nothing. But a lot of them didn't do anything. But some of them did stuff. And even the ones that died early, like Sansa's dog that got killed right off the bat, Lady. Right? She was killed immediately by the Hound.
Ned killed her.
Oh, Ned killed her,
because Nymeria attacked Joffrey, but Nymeria ran away, so they were like, we have to kill a direwolf in so like reparation, and Lady was there.
And that put into motion, that was the first thing that went on Arya's list, right?
That was mentally scarring for Sansa too. Like that moment to Sansa like changed her, like because it's like because the direwolves are like they're like warged with the Stark children, like it's a bond that's like different than like it's a dog, like it's like severing a tie for her, like it changed her as a person.
So the direwolves were really important, so it does make sense that Bran would go back in time. So possibility. Okay, so just to finish this up, still on Arya's list is the Mountain, Ilan Payne, the zombie doctor.
Wait, he's the doctor?
I think so. Isn't it Ilan Payne?
I remember that name, but I can't recall.
I think it is also because his last name is Payne.
He's a person.
And he's And then, actually, the brother without banners who's still alive. What is his fucking name? Barrack.
Dondarrion or
Dondarrion.
Yeah.
He's actually technically still on the list, so I don't know if she would really hold that against him. But definitely, I think she's going to get to, maybe Melisandre she gets to kill. She's going to cross someone else off her list.
Was Littlefinger? He wasn't on her list. She just enjoyed killing him.
No, not that I saw, but we all enjoyed it.
That was such a mood.
It was amazing.
Arya killing Littlefinger at Sansa's like sentencing, it was big.
They pulled a Wahoozie on him.
It was big, and
he had never been Wahoozied by nobody.
I really hated that storyline of pitting them against each other, but I really enjoyed that being the pivotal that was such a moment, like an iconic moment.
Honestly, I think it was worth it for that moment. Because and it gave me all the feels of like sisters doing it for themselves and it was amazing. It was actually my favorite part of the finale.
And it was also like Arya putting Sansa on the pedestal of like being a leader. She was like basically like at your word. Let it be done.
Well, and also it was also Sansa saying to Arya like, we didn't get along when we were kids or whatever. There was a lot of friction between us, but like, I love you. I trust you. You're my sister. I trust you more than any of these fuckers around me.
The lone wolf dies, but the pack survives.
There it is. There it is.
Yep.
I thought that was powerful.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I'm excited to see them work together. And if Bran could get his fucking shit together.
I'm ready for a Jon and Arya.
Oh.
I'm so ready for Jon and Arya to
I hope we
together.
Get that in the first episode.
Me too. It needs to happen it's like the 2019 mood that everybody needs to get by.
I literally just got chills when you said it.
Yeah.
We need a full reunion of everyone. Everyone that's traveling up there now. Jon and Dany, Davos and Jaime, Theon, Tyrion and Varys, and probably Brienne. I need everyone together in one room. Yeah, I need really a fucking feast, and I need fucking mead. That's what I need.
Oh, you know what I just remember is that Cersei promised she was going to send some forces to help battle the White Walkers, but she's a fucking liar.
She's a fucking bitch, and that's why Jaime left.
Bitch.
Yeah, so, and that's an important point, too, is like, will they even have time for a reunion? It might just be straight war the minute they get there, because we saw those motherfuckers breaking right through the wall.
That's
wall
true.
ain't no wall no more.
That's super true.
The wall is a
They
hedge.
do have quite a bit of distance to cover.
That's true.
I bet episode 1 will be a lot of like reunions, planning, and plotting. And then I feel like based on that director choice that like I think episode 3 probably goes really deep with the battle stuff. But I bet episode 2 we get like pre-battle. You know what I mean? Like we're preparing and doing like all the things.
Probably a betrayal or 2.
Oh yes, 4 or 5 people will die.
Yeah. Interesting. I forgot about that season, your episode 3 thing. You're right about that, though.
And every fucking episode is, like, somewhat close to, like, an hour and a half. Like, a lot of the episodes are, like, 80, 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of content packed into 6 episodes.
6 episodes, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious, but I'm super excited. I'm excited for these battles, which is a strange thing for me to say. I normally don't say that, but I think Game of Thrones does battles so fucking well. Was there any other theories you wanted to bring up, Morgie?
So I just really encourage people, if you want to have theories, some people are just like, I don't want to know. I want everything to be a surprise. And like people try to, but if you want, I would recommend Googling The Great Other as a theory because there's just so much history and information tied into that from the time of Bran the Builder to where we are today going into season 8. There's a lot wrapped up in that, which is really fascinating just like as a historical standpoint as a fan. And then I just want to say like I love a good theory and I love like talking about what might happen or who I think might rule such and such parts of the lands, but the truth of the matter is like I want to be surprised. I hope that everything I think might happen doesn't happen and some crazy bullshit happens, even if it's like some crazy bullshit that like Cersei wins. Like I just want my mind to be like fucking blown. And to be honest, it's hard because we've moved past the source material, and so there's like this might be the finale of A Song of Ice and Fire. Like we just might never get the last 2 books,
or we might get them written by a different author, in a way that is not successful, you know. And
that really sucks. But I had qualms with the last season 7, which moved beyond the books. There were some things I had qualms with about it, but as a whole, like to not be critical of like the time-space continuum or like whatever that everybody was like, come on, y'all. I think that they did a pretty good job with the story, and I think not too much of it felt forced. I think the Dany Jon thing, not to say it was forced, but it was like from the first fucking season, like that was an inevitability, I think, like trying to bring those people together. I think they handled it really well, and I think that they have what it takes to like really round this series out, and I think that they took the proper amount of time and they're gonna do it justice, and I just want my mind fucking blown, and I'm super excited.
Well, Game of Thrones has a good record of blowing our fucking minds. And shocking us, you know, and they've done it with deaths over and over, but I think it might be a deeper shock in this season. You know what I mean? I think and you're right about Jon and Dany, actually. In some way, it is inevitable. It's almost like when, like, the star quarterback starts dating the high school, like, cheerleading captain, and you're like, yeah, of course. Of course they would. They spend all their time together. They're both looking to do the same thing in a different way, and they're both fuckingly, stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, like, insanely gorgeous.
Yeah. So it's like, why? Of course they have to be together. You know, in a way, you're almost like, oh, really? You're both so unimaginative. You know, couldn't you fuck the tuba player and you just be alone? No, never, never.
I heard on like a podcast somebody was like, "But what do you think? Alternate universe, if Jon rolled up with like his right hand man and it was a Robb Stark." Like, who would a Daenerys go for? Would she be like, I'll take me a sultry, like, curly-haired secret Targaryen? Or is she, like, going to Pound Town with Robb Stark? Because I think that's a very real possibility. I think she would Pound Town
Robb Stark. I mean, look at Dario. If Dario, I mean, he's like the prettiest little fancy man.
Jon's like not her type for sure.
No, he's like, he's broody a warrior, and, like,
but she's like, he's broody and butch.
Robb Stark is like, he likes to primp and he always looks real good.
She's definitely going to Pound Town with him.
I think so. And who wouldn't really? I mean, Jon Snow's gorgeous, but Robb Stark, man.
To me it's a tough call, but I think for Dany it's an easy choice. Also, another thing that might blow our minds this season is like, there is this magical ability out there to bring people back from the dead. And like the characters that are on the playing board right now, they're not necessarily the only characters on the playing board. Like I don't think it'd be, like, completely out of the realm of possibility that somebody like a Robb Stark was resurrected or whatever. Like, Melisandre and, like, a lot of people have a lot of fucking power.
Look, as we've talked about before in earlier Game of Thrones episodes, Catelyn, fully dies and fully comes back to life in the books. And I was so bummed when it became obvious they weren't going to do that. But as you say, nothing is impossible and anything could happen at any time.
And she could make an appearance in this final season as a Lady Stoneheart. That's not an impossibility.
That would be so
They haven't
fierce.
announced it, but of course they would keep it under wraps, because it'd be a really great surprise.
That would be so good.
So there's a world of fucking possibility, and I live for, like, watching this as, like, a collective unit and, like, tuning into the internet and, like, sharing our thoughts and our feelings and, like, bitching and crying and being euphoric. Like, I just live for this, and it's such a momentous moment, and it's basically the next 6 weeks of our lives, and then it's over.
Yeah.
And then it's over forever.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Everything has to die, just like the Harry Potter craze, I mean, I know they keep trying to continue it with movies and shit, but it'll never be like it was when the books were coming out.
Never. Ever.
And when it was over, we knew it was really over. You know what I mean? It's going to be that way with Game of Thrones, too.
And I wasn't personally disappointed by the end of Harry Potter. I know, like, people have qualms with, like, some of the endings or whatever, but, like, it wrapped up. Like, it was, we don't need anymore. Like, it was fine. And I sort of hope we get that with Game of Thrones. Like, I don't want, like, every question answered or whatever, but I want it to feel fine. Even though we know we're getting spinoffs or whatever, like, I want this chapter to be closed.
But the spinoffs of Game of Thrones, like the spinoffs from Harry Potter, are really prequels, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or, like, they're earlier in time, so... I'm with you. I hope there's good closure. There are a couple people I would like to see die.
Holler.
They're all the people everyone wants to see die. It's nothing shocking there. I don't know. I want to be surprised as well. I hope that the Starks aren't completely decimated. I mean, that's actually one thing I know I do hope. Because I love Arya and I love Sansa now. And I love Jon. And that's about it. Bran can fucking die. I don't give a shit about him.
But I don't think he can because he's a three-eyed
But yeah,
dragon.
exactly. But he's pretty much guaranteed to live in some form. But I just hope the rest of them aren't decimated. I really hope Tyrion doesn't die, but he might. I feel like he is a possibility he will. So, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone else I liked is dead already, so... Those are the only
we've had some heavy hits.
Girl, my queen.
And no one is safe, so we'll just have to see what happens.
Varys is a mermaid.
All of those things were facts. 100% truthful
Varys
facts.
ain't no damn mermaid.
Oh, you gonna be laughing when he pulls his
mermaid,
little robe up
girl.
and he got a little fin down it.
He ain't got no fishy fins.
You seen his feet? How many feet have you seen on Lord Varys?
Have you ever seen my feet?
Yes.
Maybe. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. In 15 years, you've never seen my feet. Maybe I'm a mermaid.
You wear flip-flops like every summer.
No, never.
You're like not wearing shoes right now.
Varys ain't no goddamn mermaid. And you can take that to the bank.
Okay,
and
listen.
then you can smoke it in the bank lobby.
If it turns out he's maybe not a mermaid in so many words, but he's a weird fish monster hybrid, I don't want you coming for me because that still counts. That still counts.
So if instead of a mermaid, he's a man-mer? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm saying if he's man up top, fish on bottom, he's a mermaid. And
he's also obviously related to you.
Uh-huh. Well, we'll see who's the idiot soon. If it comes out that Varys is a mermaid, we are doing a fucking episode on why you are wrong and I'm right, and it's just going to be me making fun of you for 30 minutes.
Oh, well, you'll have to get your script ready. Must be hard to say so much about so little. Wait, I think I insulted myself. No!
All right.
It's starting already.
Well, cheers, baby. I'm excited for the end of Game of Thrones. And ding, ding. And I'm excited for everybody who's listening right now. You guys be sure to follow us, subscribe wherever you're listening to this right now, rate and review us. Catch us on social media.
Yeah. We're on that new social media website, the Blankenship.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
Copyright Macon Morgan, or is that a real thing?
It's named after my 5th grade English teacher.
Ooh.
You go on this website, you don't learn anything, and you hate everything. It's really good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Find us there.
Yeah.
But we're also on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, whatever, all that shit. We have a website.
YouTube. Did you say that?
No, but
Sorry.
that one too. Yeah, cash us outside. How about that? We'll see you there. Love you, babies.
Bye. We're drunk this time. You couldn't even finish.
The Boda Bug.
Do you have a home? Beauty in the bed.
You
look.
in the bed.
Beauty in the bed.
Beauty in the bed.
You're
Bye.